So it's time for another look at the morning papers, and here with me this morning to review them are the former editor of the Daily Star, Dawn Neeson, and the broadcaster, Pete Price. So welcome back. Observant members of the audience will notice that Peter's changed his shirt, as is obligatory now with you, Pete.
Well, I do it at home, so I brought them with me.
For each one. Fantastic.
I prefer this one. To be honest, preferring this one, just saying.
I just love working with two fabulous ladies live in the studio. I love it.
Well, at least again, then. Right, we actually going to start with a very serious story, aren't we, Peter? This is one that's close to your heart, and it's quite a shocking story that the Mirror has on their front page.
It's made me very cross. It's on the front page, and it's in 2 pages inside the Mirror. It's Denise, James Bulger's mother, says the sick TikTok videos of James Bulger only deepen the unimaginable heartache this family have suffered. Nobody has any idea of the pain we went through. Late night presenter.
So what they've done, Pete, they've recreated James Bulger on TikTok.
Yes, and he's got this little boy saying, 2 boys approached me. First of all, where's the mentality in doing this? Secondly, I was on late night radio. I broke the story about James Bulger. Ralph's mother rang me, Helen Bulger, and said, I'm never going to see my angel again. I went with the story all the way. I became the voice of Liverpool for the world about it because I was so angry. I then became friends with Denise. When they got Thompson and Venables, I went on the marches to keep them in prison. Nobody has any idea how Denise and Ralph have come through this pain. I will never know in a million years. And then to create a character and put it on. And so I had to, before I did the story, I just went on to have a look at, there's so many videos about this little boy. But now to create with AI, to create this child, can you imagine? And that child wasn't just slaughtered by 2 boys, he was tortured. I couldn't even say at this time of day what happened to him. So I am incensed by this story.
Yeah, it's incredibly distressing, and you can't imagine what pain it brings on the family. Yeah.
What's the thought process behind someone actually doing that?
What's the thought process?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's move on. Lots of issues around today to get our teeth into, and this ongoing one about migrants crossing the channel and how to house them is again in the papers. The Express has it on their front page, and here's their double-page spread.
Yeah, this is on page 4 and 5 in the Express. So this is a different take on it. It's the same story, it's a different take on it. Evidently, in March, the huge army base, Catterick Garrison, in Rishi Sunak's own constituency up in North Yorkshire, was earmarked to house several thousand asylum seekers. You know, the ones that were in hotels or possibly on a boat or possibly going to Rwanda. This was one solution, but it's not it's a solution that's been delayed because according to this story, there's no actual named sources. According to this story, the army actually don't want the asylum seekers there, not for any nefarious political reasons, but it's a regeneration area. And they are saying that the investment in the area would be put off if they have to house all the asylum seekers there as well. So it's, you know, there were several thousand young men due to be stationed there. This isn't a new thing. They are stationed already at other RAF and army bases around the country. But for some reason, this has been delayed. The army is saying that there's no reason why, it's just one of those things. But it's a curious story. And, you know, it's the ongoing debate, Anna, what do we do with these poor souls? We have no way of seemingly sorting the problem out. I mean,
well, yes, and there's also the issue of cost. The government doesn't want to spend more money on hotel bills,
which is costing
high.
Which is £2.2 billion a year.
It's costing a fortune, and what we're forgetting is, and I'm sorry about these people, but there are many of our own people have nowhere to live. Many hundreds of thousands are still with homeless, and we're paying for them.
The obvious solution is sort out the processing, get people processed much for thousands of people.
Yeah, but then where do they live?
Well, we need to start house building as well, but none of this is going to happen overnight, is it? That's the problem.
And then costings of houses.
So many big issues that it plays into, doesn't it? And people feel strongly about it in every direction. Let's move on to a totally different story, though, Pete. And this is a story that we actually covered yesterday.
Indeed.
But it has developed since then. This is in The Guardian.
Twiglet.
Sorry, Twiglet.
Bless him. Who apparently is shaken up, but he's not too bad now. And he's been found.
Who's Twiglet?
Well, Twiglet's a little dog. Twiglet is a miniature Dachshund who was stolen by a masked man. And the video went everywhere.
Yeah.
The video was unbelievable, seeing them taking this little dog.
From someone's kitchen, wasn't it? They actually went into the kitchen and and grab the little
Yeah,
dog.
grab the dog. Well, they were robbing the house, so they robbed the dog as well. And then put the dog for sale, and some kind soul saw this, and Twiglet has come back home. But this, once again, is a bigger story. When I was on late night radio, the amount of stealing of animals now, because it's big financial business all over the world. But little Twiglet's home. He's a little bit shaken up. He's no doubt spoilt rotten now, and they're very happy. But thank you to the person that found them.
And paid £700.
And paid £700, yeah.
Recognising from the video that it was,
Yeah, it
they
was
thought
lovely,
It was the right
yeah.
dog.
Yes, the fact they paid, does it encourage people to go and nick more dogs so you can make money out of it?
Oh,
Yeah,
that's a minefield. Wow.
Sad.
Take us on to another story that we've been hearing a lot about in recent weeks, and this is the debanking issue of Nigel Farage and the fallout from it.
Absolutely.
This is the Daily Mail's take on it.
Yeah, this is page 22 of the Daily Mail, and the NatWest, which own Coutts Bank, which debanked Nigel Farage, have announced their profits, and they have made 3.6 billion profit for the 6 months to the end of June, which is up 2.6 billion from last year. So Sir Howard Davis, who's the chairman of the bank, is saying that, you know, Dame Alison Rose, who had to step down over this whole scandal, was actually doing a very good job, and basically it's a shame we had to let her go. So he's still actually not that repentant about what the bank has done, which is a complete breach of privacy, confidentiality, breaking every banking rule that they're meant to stick to. So he's still not actually very contrite about it, is he? Hasn't actually even apologised properly. But, you know, she has stepped down, and he is refusing to step down. I think he's due to resign in the spring, in any case, step down. But basically, they've made so much profit. So dividends for investors are now going to be £492 million payout. And it also says that the bank is going to buy back some of the shares. Now, he has said this decision is, you know, she had to go because it was political. Well, it was political because the government got involved, because we own, us being the government, 39% of the shares in NatWest, which owns Coutts. So it was political for that reason alone. I don't think any other reason. And they say they're going to buy back some of those shares now, but it's not specific, Anna, which shares they're going to buy back. Are they going to refund the taxpayer that when we bailed them out? So
I tell you, sorry, what makes me cross about this story, if it had somebody, an ordinary bank teller or somebody working in the office had told this, they'd have been instantly sacked with no nothing. They would just be out. They'd get no money. They'd get nothing. But because she was one of the bosses, it's quite all right.
There was a story about NatWest. They worked in a call centre and they lost their jobs because they looked at somebody's account they weren't meant to, and they lost their jobs and they were just out the door.
Unbelievable. One for one and one for the other.
Yeah, and she has now lost her job, as has the chief executive of Coutts as well.
Yeah.
So there has been quite a big fallout, I guess. Let's move on to Kylie.
Kylie has got her residency in Vegas, and I'm already booking tickets. Oh yeah. No. I go see Mariah. I'm a music. I love music, so I go to Vegas all the time. I've just been.
Shows like? Are they?
Well, I've just been to Katy Perry just about a month ago over in Vegas.
Are you not going to tell that story?
I'm not going to tell that story. It was very cheeky about Katy Perry because we had dinner afterwards. That's another story. Yes, I'm a name dropper. I'm a name dropper. But the big monies, you know, 454 million Celine Dion made in Vegas. Kylie is working a smaller venue with only 1,000 people, but the tickets will be scandalously expensive. But she is a big star, and to do Vegas, I think, is great. But when you say she's worth 120 million, goodness knows how much money she's going to get for Vegas. But I saw Cher over there, I saw Sinatra there.
Okay, it all sounds great. I might have to ask you a Katy Perry story in the break.
I will.
Now,
Oh no, I'll tell you.
We're out of time. I'll see you in the next hour.